Welcome to the 23rd session, where we are creating a global well-being curriculum using 5,000-year-old texts of ancient wisdom called the Indian knowledge system. What is the approach to mathematics that prevents social pain and meets the new global goal of education? This 5,000-year-old tradition had this approach to mathematics which made its civilization last and outlast. What were the philosophical concepts, the ideas that guided mathematics? That will be explored in this session. With what vision do we see everything? What is the only thing that comes in our calculations? Our mathematics and way to see numbers. What was the vision of framing derivatives that led to the 2008 financial crisis? Will this blinded vision lead us to gobble up the source, much like milking the goose that lays the golden egg? Please take 5 minutes and let's write a self-analysis of human behavior and whether this is self-sustaining. Please write, what can I do to prevent it? Well, we have seen in every session OECD's new learning compass. It's centered on developing competencies to prevent social pain. But where is its fulcrum? Prosperity or salary of graduating students from institutions of higher education was the fulcrum till now. Skills and application of knowledge in the current knowledge system has created one fixed idea, prosperity for the individual. Attitudes, values, everything rotates around it. What about truth? Well, 2008 has shown that truth was that which is convenient. So whatever becomes convenient becomes the truth. So you tell the customer, this is the truth because that's convenient to you. It makes you get a higher bonus. So that is the truth. So both 2008 and 2019 showed how its convenience, the convenience of speaking what is convenient, led to extreme problems in society. Derivatives wreaked economic havoc and the virus led to extreme pain. As currently skills are becoming redundant very fast, we are finding that skills that we had yesterday are no longer relevant today. Therefore, this challenges the way in which current knowledge is being imparted today. The approach of Indian knowledge system to the learning compass was always very different. It had a fulcrum, and the fulcrum was values. These provide a stable basis for society. The learning compass rotates with action that sustains society. The nature of actions in the last 150 years has caused social pain. Indian knowledge systems rotates the compass on values to deliver value to society. As its four values are self-sustaining, the value they create also sustains society. The knowledge and skills that offer value keep changing, but the values remain the same. This keeps society in dynamic balance, just like a spinning top. And this aligns with the way creation is, the way nature is, which too is always in dynamic balance. When a spinning top rotates, all elements in it are going in the same direction in harmony with each other. Values give that harmony to society. The OECD Learning Compass, if based on values of the Indian knowledge system as its fulcrum, will develop competencies which will try to serve society instead of just serving myopic, selfish goals. When society sustains the individual, too prospers with well-being. So society and individual are interlinked with each other. If society sustains, so will the individual. If society prospers, so will the individual. If society suffers social pain, so will the individual suffer social pain. Repeated crashes of social fabric, as in 2008 and 2020, are prevented in this manner. The mathematics of calculations is therefore very different in Indian knowledge systems. The OECD Learning Compass develops competencies to prevent social pain. IKS's fulcrum is of unchanging values that build attitudes. What is the IKS logic of having values based on selflessness? Why were they education's fulcrum for action led by thought and word? Indian knowledge systems studied mathematics and sciences, the science of nature, with awe to learn from it. It saw everything in nature changing. It saw seasons changing, day turning to night, the rotation and revolution, the movement of the sun, etc. All this sustained creation despite constant change. This dynamic balance, it concluded, was based on the value of selflessness. The sun gave energy to creation equally. It did not differentiate, and it sustained life. The river did not drink its own water, or the tree consume its own fruit. When everything worked selflessly, everything sustained each other. This was the observation of Indian knowledge systems. In ancient times, you did not need a formal degree to understand and comprehend nature or to study it. Galileo, without a formal degree, had a chair in mathematics. His mind explored in the Indian knowledge system style the questions which are very dear to Indian knowledge system. These are the questions that this course is reviving, because any IKS researcher asks questions like what, where, who, how, etc. Galileo wondered, what is the basis of motion? Where does it come from? Who produces it? How is it expressed? He discovered that a parabola is the natural expression of motion. Creation is in motion always. Is it a parabola? IKS studies motion of thought. What makes it stable? IKS values, which we call as dharma, create a stable attitude which sustains society. This attitude and its values create a dynamic balance within all human beings to align with the expanding parabola of the mind, because the mind is also moving. So these values align with the expanding parabola of the mind to create a dynamic balance between oneself and creation. The study of mathematics, sciences, economics and management are aligned with this thought. However, the approach towards these subjects in the current knowledge system is very different. In the current knowledge system, the mind is made powerful through knowledge. The idea is to give the mind freedom to act. So you make it powerful with many techniques, many tools, lot of knowledge. But how will this power be used? The evidence of social pain seen by the OECD in the last 150 years shows that the use of the human mind without relying on values can be misdirected. Then it is not able to create dynamic balance in society. The approach of Indian knowledge system is to work towards a mastery of the mind. Once the mind is filled with awareness of a need to be in unity with the dynamic balance in the cosmos, then it can use all its knowledge freely. Without such an awareness, if knowledge is used, it will lead to social pain. The way to using it in Indian knowledge system, the goal of knowledge was thus to develop character and seek inner bliss, and this attitude and values and character led to well-being for all in society. Galileo had famously stated that the universe is a grand book which was written in the language of mathematics. The symmetry in shapes from snowflakes, cobwebs to honeycombs has been discussed by many. Professor Max Tegmark of MIT said, and I quote, "Everything in the universe is made of mathematics, including you," unquote. He further says, and I quote, "If my life as a physicist has taught me anything at all, it's that Plato was right. Modern physics has made abundantly clear that the ultimate nature of reality isn't what it seems," unquote. Sense perception is our reality. We have made sense perception our first way of knowing in the current knowledge system. So sense perception is our reality. Is reality that is being talked of a different experience? Indian knowledge system's study of mathematics and numbers catalyzes Plato's and Professor Tegmark's idea of experience within students, transforming their actions so that these actions sustain society and create well-being. Numbers are symbols used. We treat them as real and build our world, and this world is not just a physical world, but this world is also of reactions in the human mind, and we treat these, we build our world, physical and mental, based on numbers. And numbers give knowledge of shapes, sizes, proportions, and how to use them to transform or apply them to solve problems. Wisdom is, however, different from such knowledge. This knowledge of using numbers can be acquired. How to use it requires wisdom, which comes through experience. The wise therefore seek a different experience. They seek an experience of bliss. And this they found because they discovered that experiences of these sense organs are not lasting experiences. So they wanted to seek everlasting experience of bliss to create prosperity with balance. Can education in our world, which is filled with mathematics, enable this? The world is unreal according to physicists, yet such bliss is real. This is what the experience of IKS says. The question becomes how to realize bliss. In Indian knowledge system, the way to realize bliss comes from a search within, and this search within is focused on one question: who am I? If the individual considers himself just as the body and mind, that is sense perception, the way of current knowledge system, then the exploration of I may lead to a sense of ego, a self-importance, a desire to control others, and even a desire to control nature. Indian knowledge systems explores the I as in human essence, that what is my human essence. This leads to exploring the I of nature and the I of consciousness, because what is the essence, what is the essential truth of nature, what is the essential truth of consciousness, and is there an interlinkage between these truths? Because the I of consciousness, what is pulling our breath in and giving life to the body and the mind, that consciousness, that is the essence of all creation itself. A plant, a tree, an animal, anything is surviving till the life breath is there, till that consciousness is there given by the life breath. So that consciousness which gives the life breath must be the essence of all creation. So when we think like this, the interlinkage between the I of human essence, the I of nature, and the I of consciousness becomes clear. Identifying oneself as a part of the universe brings a universal consciousness within each individual and prevents us from harming others and harming nature. Pure consciousness is absolute balance. It is a state in which the source exists. How does creation exist? Creation is always moving. Therefore, it is in a state of dynamic balance. In Indian knowledge systems, mathematics, the search, the revelation, and the conclusion of the process of studying mathematics is different. Current knowledge system uses sense perception as the first way of knowing. Indian knowledge system uses sacrifice of sense perception, or what is called penance, as its way. It meditates on cause and effect. It searches for who am I, to develop intuition and insight. So after doing penance, meditation, searching very sincerely, after observing cause and effect in the whole universe, what is the insight Indian knowledge system got? The insight that came from within, what the current, what is known in the Western tradition as the revealed truth. The revealed truth, twofold revealed truth came out, emerged. The revealed truth of Akshara, Akshar, the alphabet, and the revealed truth of Sankhya, that is the revealed truth of numbers. This was recognized and its experience was sought to be inculcated through practices. So, in the Akshara or the alphabet, it was found that AUM, Om, is the beginning of Akshara. And in Sankhya, we can see that the basis of all numbers is the number 1. Therefore, Indian knowledge systems concluded that all numbers are based on 1. Therefore, creation must have one basis. It realized this oneness of creation using two concepts, zero and infinity. In Indian knowledge systems, the use of mathematics leads to rising in current knowledge systems Maslow's need hierarchy. How? The number 1 is the key to attain the goal in Indian knowledge systems because there is only one source. The way to the goal is through the experience of two concepts which are outside the box of numbers. Suppose we put all the numbers that exist inside a box, then there are two concepts which are outside this full box of numbers. These concepts are 0 on one side and infinity on the other side. Infinity is nothing but an expression of nature, and nature we have shown as the chair. So, infinity is the chair of creation on which what is sitting? The source is sitting with infinite expressions. Indian knowledge systems education starts by observing infinity to deduce that the individual size compared to infinity is near 0. So, if we look at all of creation and do an anuman or we do a comparison, we will sooner or later come to the conclusion, if we stand in a planetarium, that our size compared to the size of the universe is near 0. Therefore, the first lesson in Indian knowledge system is humility. With humility of 0, going beyond sense perception of lower order needs which are shared with the animal world, going beyond these needs becomes possible in Indian knowledge system. The current knowledge system is unable to do it. Step 2 and 3 are taken only when the underlying unity of one behind infinite creation is experienced within the individual as a deep conviction. Indian knowledge systems studies oneness of the individual with nature and consciousness. 1 is the most important number in the mathematics of Indian knowledge system. Why? Because there is one source of creation, not more. Problems arise when humans do not know about the interlinkage between each other, between humans and the oneness of society. This lack of jnana, knowledge, is followed by a lack of vision or drishti that can see oneness of humans with nature. So, first the oneness of humans as a part of society must be envisioned. Only then can we go to the next step of seeing oneness of humans with nature. The inability to enter or pravesh into an experience of the one consciousness pervading all is Indian knowledge systems education's final goal. So, current knowledge systems education is exploring only the I of the individual, of nature and consciousness as distinct and not as interdependent entities, while Indian knowledge system views them as interdependent entities. So, the Indian knowledge system study of mathematics leads us to rise in Maslow's need hierarchy, and this is done in 3 simple steps using 3 levels of investigation into the nature of I. So, investigating the I of nature is called Jnanatum in the Bhagavad Gita. So, you have information about everything in creation, You know how seasons change. You know how days and nights are formed. You know about the movement of the sun. You know where things are placed. You know the shapes of tables. So that's investigating the eye of nature. It's called Gyantum in Bhagavad Gita. It makes humans stand up to see the unity of atoms that underlies creation. So the real Gyantum is not in the diversity, but is in the vision or drashtatum of seeing the underlying unity of atoms, and this can only be attained with zero selfishness and ego. That's the importance of zero, because zero drashtatum, from standing up, it helps us climb the chair. The vision or drashtatum of seeing the unity of atoms in all of creation. And once you are on the chair, then the source, I, consciousness, this is the source which has an infinite potential of bliss. So zero helps you climb up the chair, and infinity is right there. It can be actualized by the ability to experience oneness using zero ego. Therefore, through humility, speaking soft, sweet truth and earnest observation, etc., this is the way to express and experience the oneness using zero ego. So this Jnanatum and Drashtatum, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, leads to the third step of Indian knowledge system, which Bhagavad Gita calls as Praveshtum. So that's Praveshtum in the world, or entering the physical world armed with an idea of oneness, leads to merger with the source. What is Maslow's idea of transcendence, where you are transcending sense perception, you are transcending ego through the concept of zero, and you are transcending the multiplicity by seeing oneness. So the transcendence of multiplicity leads to the one infinite source, which is bliss itself. So this is how the Bhagavad Gita and Maslow's need hierarchy work together. IKS, Indian Knowledge Systems Mathematics, fulfills the goal of current knowledge systems, social sciences. In Indian knowledge system, all sciences emerge from a way of living life. Its approach is not of division but of unity. For example, investigation of the body in biology in the current knowledge system studies each body part separately. Indian knowledge system does the same, but starts with investigating the source or the energy that gives life to all the body parts, and how a balance results from the interrelatedness of all body parts. It checks why a balance of unity got disturbed, leading to illness. A wrong study of I leads to illness, and if we study the V principle, it leads to the wellness idea in society. What is the way to study mathematics in Indian knowledge systems using this view? The current knowledge system uses numbers as tools to fulfill desires based on sense perception. Indian knowledge systems uses numbers as concepts to firmly implant ideas beyond sense perception. Both current and Indian knowledge systems use numbers to satisfy human needs and answer important questions about daily existence and important questions about search. But Indian knowledge system does it after investigating the source behind all numbers. Social pain in the last 150 years using current knowledge system shows that the numbers have been used like a bull in a china shop. Indian knowledge system seeks to know that one thing, knowing which everything else can be known, and that one thing is the source. So it uses the eye of consciousness, it studies the source, and it uses mathematics to build values and attitudes with this viewpoint of the source. How did civilization and wisdom's view of numbers emerge? When humans started studying numbers, they must have counted 1, 2, 3, up to 10 on their fingers. They would have found that the primary number is 1 and the others are derived from it by a process of addition. It is easy to conclude that all numbers are based on the number 1. The 1 became many according to them. What was the 1 that became many in creation? This 1 is captured in the mantra Ekoham Bahushyam. I am the one, let me be many. That's how the source expressed itself. This 1 is the truth behind all multiplicity, which is expressed as Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. The ultimate reality, the ultimate truth is 1. The wise call it by many names. Mathematics in Indian knowledge system sees a balance, a cosmic, individual and absolute balance. It's a study of these three. Galileo says motion expresses itself as a parabola. All matter is in motion and is shown as a parabola. But nature, Indian knowledge systems found, is full of opposites. But both the opposites have only one source. In this way, joining the two parabolas, we may derive the modern symbol of infinity or the concept of everything. Now, a study of everything tells us nothing about the source. Even if you have studied all the matter in the universe, all the matter in the world, all the matter within the human body, will it give you any information about the source? It will not give you any information about the source. Behind the cycles of nature and the cycles of time is Maya, or Maya gives zero information about the source. Therefore, IKS, Indian Knowledge Systems, explores oneness to experience the source. This experience starts with humility. How to create it? Some refer to mantras as mathematical formulae. Some researchers find that these transform neural networks. Indian Knowledge Systems used mantras to transform attitudes and inculcate values. To create humility, it used visualization of the greatness of the source and used the sun as a symbol to remove the darkness of ignorance about it. Visualizations like this one gave the idea of one.
Om Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Adityavarnam Tamasah Parastat.
How to comprehend and experience zero and infinity. What if I told you to take everything away from me and yet my fullness is not disturbed? All say that this is not a physical reality. All say 2 minus 2 can never be 2. Let's see one. 1 has a unique property. All numbers can be divided by 1, all numbers can be multiplied by 1, yet the original number remains the same. Hence, 1 is an integral part of every number and every being in the universe. The number 1 does not disturb the uniqueness of anybody or anything. It simply owns it. It becomes part of it. It becomes the core of it. What is the quality that gives this property as an experience within us? The concepts of zero and infinity enable us to get this experience of oneness and become the core of everything in the universe, just as the source is the core of everything in creation. So, what is the unique property of this source? If everything is taken out of the source, yet the fullness of the source remains. From the source, creation has been taken out, yet fullness of the source of creation has not changed. How does it relate to our experience? Worldly possessions with us can be stolen, but can our wisdom be stolen? It remains whole, untouched. Even if all wisdom is given to a student, the teacher's wisdom does not diminish. It doesn't come down, it doesn't go down, it doesn't disappear. Similarly, an individual loses something if he has attachment to it. If he has no ego or attachment, nothing can be taken away from him because he never considered it as his own. He will therefore remain the same. So this ability to remain the same emerges from idea of zero attachments. In this way, a human being cannot be influenced or tempted to make wrong decisions when there is zero attachment to the fruit of action. This concept was taught again by using a Sanskrit mantra.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
This mantra says that if you take fullness out of fullness, the fullness still remains. 2 minus 2 will never be equal to 2, but if you take everything out of infinity, infinity remains. So while current knowledge system would reject Indian knowledge system's conception, but the experience of oneness of Indian knowledge system is what helped its civilization sustain and created well-being for thousands of years. So how can Indian knowledge system visualize mathematics? Let's simplify the idea. Let us imagine all numbers are inside a box. Numbers measures shapes. Hence, let's visualize all current knowledge systems mathematics that gives quantified results like gross domestic product, GDP or profit to be in a box. Now society wants things that can be quantified, and the new requirement from education is to get things which can't be quantified, like attitudes, values, well-being. They can't be quantified. So therefore, what is the solution society is asking for? It's asking for a solution that is out of the box of numbers. So it's an out-of-box solution. The solution of the parabola of creation is in the number 1. But how to get its experience? 2 out-of-the-box concepts of zero and infinity can help us get this experience within ourselves. As we know, Indian knowledge systems relates mathematics to life. What does it teach the mind, the heart, the intellect to realize infinite individual potential? The first thing it teaches is Indian knowledge systems develops discrimination in the intellect, and this discrimination is between the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. Now, with this discrimination, you are armed and you are ready. Indian knowledge systems makes you ready to live in the box of numbers, the box of physical reality, the box of sense perception. What is the second thing it does? It makes your inner enemies zero. The 6 inner enemies are brought to zero, and zero ego helps the mind go beyond thought to get the insights of oneness of creation in the human heart. So this leads to the third step, that it transforms the heart, and each one realizes the infinite potential hidden not only within oneself but also hidden within everyone. So how do the three paths of Indian knowledge system of karma, bhakti and jnana help us? The path of karma uses our intellect to discriminate between right and wrong without expectation of any results. When this becomes a natural habit, such karma becomes devotion to duty or bhakti, as it is now overarching the narrow selfish self-interest to serve a larger interest. Such a capacity to visualize the larger interest of larger numbers gives us the jnana or wisdom to see things from the largest perspective of all, the perspective that is with the source of creation, the I. Can we relate this to the chair and the atom simultaneously? The box of numbers are the three legs of the chair on which the source sits. The 5 elements merge in the 3 qualities here. The 4th leg is infinite energy. It exists in each electron. The easy way to sit on the chair is using zero attachment or zero ego. This shunyata is the empty space in each atom too. Infinite energy resides there. Break an atom to find it out. The source resides in the heart as an experience of oneness with creation. From bondage to sense perception to liberation. Any work or karma done without discrimination is bondage. Hence, the first role of Indian knowledge systems education is to create discrimination. Both zero and infinity are liberating concepts. They require discrimination to comprehend the spirit of work or spirituality. The infinite mindfulness emerges from shunyata or zero ego and zero selfishness. If bondage is like a handcuff, the zero mind slips through the handcuff. When you have a zero mind, you can slip through the handcuff of bondage. Infinite human potential is beyond handcuffs imposed by sense perception on the animal world. Indian knowledge systems fulfills it by 4 goals of life, rightly paired. Righteous conduct guides activity. Dharma and artha are paired. Desire fulfillment is by lack of attachment or zero attachment, which leads to moha kshaya. Lack of attachment is kshaya, end of moha, which is moksha. Zero makes ABC of life as always be cheerful. In the box of numbers when you are living, ABC means always be careful. Experience of bliss comes with lifelong practice. Practice is the way in and way out of maze of creation. The physical reality of the world is a box of numbers. Its mathematical problems are in relationships and in life. The 4 goals of life, the 3 paths, etc., are formulae to solve the problems. These practices of Indian knowledge system help Bhava Advaita, that is, having equal love for all. But once you are inside the box, we cannot have Karma Advaita. We must respect physical reality and abide by restraints. This is where discrimination comes, and it comes with practice in applying a feeling of oneness in spirit. Practice is the way in and way out of maze of creation. This course lays a deep emphasis on practice. Every attempt is made to make all the lectures very short. A 5-minute slot at the end of this lecture is being given for silent sitting. This is to enable the participant to mull over what is said. Whatever has been heard should be repeated in the mind so that it gets absorbed. Just as sugar is stirred in a cup of tea or coffee with a spoon, use the spoon of silence to stir the sugar of Indian knowledge systems in your mind. It takes some time for the tea or coffee to become sweet. Patience is very important. The perspectives shared in the course will seem meaningful only if such silent sitting is done to mull over what has been said. Else, the half an hour spent in delivering the lectures will be a waste of time. We welcome you to undertake an inner journey during these 5 minutes. Only then will knowledge that is outside you will become wisdom inside you. The time allocated for this is actually 20 minutes, not 5 minutes. The time should be increased gradually. This is also a time for the mind to take rest. In case it cannot do that, mull over whether the voice of the conscience has guided you at any time in life till now. We accept challenges for the physical body in games. In a gym, we can have a 20 minutes plank challenge. We may exchange challenges on the quantity of food we can eat. Can we go beyond such challenges to the second step of the Indian knowledge systems? Can we see if the mind itself can take rest and maybe stop working? Can we explore what will happen if it becomes zero? Remember, it is not good to challenge the mind. It rebels and makes you do the opposite of what you want it to do. It is far simpler to observe the mind. For doing this, first the physical body should move as little as possible. Observe the mind as it tells the body to move. You are not telling the body to move, the mind is telling the body to move. Observe the mind. Move away from the mind and see what it is forcing the body to do. Watch the mind as if you are sitting on a fan at a distance. When you are at home, Shavasana in yoga is a good posture for this practice. Try to first silence the body, then the mind. For those who have mastered this, they can try the next method. When you think of nothing, can you experience love without giving it a shape of a thing like your favorite food or a thing that you want to own or the physical form of a person? Can it just be love without an emotion to a person or a thing? Can it be love for the sake of love? How do you experience loving yourself? The purpose of this course is to help you discover yourself, that loving being beyond the body and the mind.